plants. When they can't photosynthesize, they might start to go dormant.
Why fall is the most dangerous time of the year for drivers.
Wet pavement, slick leaves, and low tire pressure make it worse. Every 10 degrees colder drops tire pressure by about 1 psi.
And the Seal Pup Rescue you won't want to miss.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Evacuations are expiring this hour for parts of Los Angeles after strong thunderstorms drenched the area on Tuesday. Now, officials were concerned because the region is vulnerable to mudslides because of burn scars from recent wildfires. But the heavy rain mostly triggered flash flooding, causing dangerous conditions on the roads and several traffic delays.
Pretty normal. Yeah, it's LA in the rain. Yeah, lots of accidents. Lots of traffic, not fun.
Well, the good news for the area, today's weather calls for clear skies with temperatures in the upper 60s. And for people at higher elevations in Northern California, it's not rain but snow they were dealing with. At least 6 inches of snow covered Mammoth Mountain and the Sierra Nevada mountain range. The snow fell Monday into Tuesday, and forecasters say more flakes are expected to fall over the next 24 hours. Now, skiers and snowboarders say they are ready, although most ski resorts in the area don't really typically open until even November. There's major flooding in southern Colorado after 3 days of heavy rain. A resident here captured this right here, this video Tuesday morning of the rushing water of the San Juan River and Pagosa Springs. Officials say roadways and infrastructure have been affected. Police said schools and all parks in the area remain closed due to river surge and high water. Now, over the weekend, nearly 400 homes in La Plata County were evacuated due to flooding, and more than 90 were damaged as well. The El Paso area saw flooding after rain fell Monday night into Tuesday. It caused some damage, including the collapse of half of a gas station canopy in the eastern part of the city. You're looking at it there. And an El Paso park looked more like a lake Tuesday afternoon after all that rain fell. The water just reached the halfway point of some of the trees at Elbum Park you're looking at right here. Now, over 1,000 Alaskan residents are still displaced following Typhoon Hailong. Remnants from the weekend storm destroyed 2 tiny villages. Now officials are working to find more shelter for over 1,500 people. More rain and wind are expected to impact the Alaskan coast today. At least 1 person, though, sadly is confirmed dead and 2 are still missing. The National Guard Armory is serving as a shelter for dozens of people at this point. Well, yesterday we brought you the aftermath of an extreme microburst in Tempe, Arizona that damaged several businesses. Today, the story of homeowners who are wrapping their minds around the cleanup ahead after the storm dropped a lot of damage and shock as well on them. Michaela Marshall has more.
I've never seen anything like that before.
The aftermath of Monday's microburst is hard for homeowners like Matt Jensen to take in.
It came on suddenly, and almost as suddenly it stopped.
The fast-moving storm leaving a lasting impact that will take a long time to clean up. He's got 2 big trees down in the backyard.
It was very jarring.
Plus, this massive one in the front yard slammed onto the roof.
A really loud thump. Luckily, it did miss where any people were, but it was definitely a very surreal experience.
How does this happen?
It's an act of God. And that's really the only way to explain this.
Even roofing professionals like Nate Manley are blown away by the amount of destruction.
In any other storm, this would be absolutely out of the ordinary, but we're seeing this on almost every other street.
He compares it to a war zone and says with so many people looking for help, his phone has been ringing nonstop.
We're going to have to basically rebuild her house, especially in this section. And once we have the tree off, who knows what we'll find.
The severe weather also affecting Manley's Tempe home.
I don't have time to take care of my own home. That's how much damage we've been experiencing in the neighborhood.
What did you think when you saw this?
The end of the world is coming.
Jill Osborne's next-door neighbor got the worst of it.
I did come outside, and my poor neighbor came outside at the same time, and She was crying. It was terrifying for her.
Although it might be more hidden, there's significant damage to her home, too.
I have a skylight now in my attic.
Thankfully, no one was hurt, and the community is pitching in to support one another.
All I really care about is that everybody was okay.
Well, it's leaf peeping season, and it's a big attraction in parts of the Ohio Valley, but the state is dealing with an ongoing drought, and it has some worry that it could impact the fall foliage. Tanner Mounts has more.
The Ohio Valley has experienced a dry stretch of weather over the past several months, with August marking a record low in rainfall. While the lack of precipitation could slightly impact this year's fall foliage, Dan Lima, Ohio State Extension Educator for Agriculture and Natural Resources, remains optimistic, predicting a vibrant autumn ahead.
It can have an impact because we're always talking about plants. When they can't photosynthesize, they might start to go dormant, but there's always something. I've never seen it to where we don't see any kind of fall colors in this area.
Although this summer's dry conditions may not affect the changing leaf colors, Lima notes that the lack of rainfall could cause trees to shed their leaves earlier than usual. And while some leaves may already be falling, the transformation of the forest is only just beginning.
Depending on where you are, you might start seeing things a little earlier, depending on the species that you see. But yeah, I expect now is kind of the start of the show. A week from now, we'll probably see better color, and towards the end, that's probably the peak, if we haven't reached it beforehand.
Well, 2 seal pups were found along the Washington state coast. Both were underweight and critically sick as well. They spent months in intensive care, but now they are back in the wild. Meteorologist Stella Sun has that story.
This is what a fish feast looks like at Sea Life Response Rehab and Research, or SR3.
We throw a bunch of herring into the pool, and it's up to the seals to compete with each other and eat the fish on their own.
The harbor seals fed 4 times a day.
We need to get them nice and fat and chunky so they're able to kind of live out in the wild and the cold waters that we have here.
This marine wildlife hospital taking care of 26 injured and sick harbor seals native to here.
This time of year, we're seeing patients that are dealing with more severe medical issues.
Earlier this summer, SR3 taking in 2 Guadalupe fur seals, native to Southern California and Mexico.
We should not be seeing them on our beaches here in the Pacific Northwest.
The pups found severely underweight, minimally responsive, needing intensive care.
We know that if they are sick, then usually that's going to be affecting the human population as well.
Oh, why do you say that?
Well, because if they're sick and they are top predators in the ocean, that generally means that down the food chain, other things are sick. And we rely on things down the food chain, and we eat those things.
After 3 months of getting critical medical treatment, this is the joyful moment when the seals were released back into the ocean.
And that was a very exciting day.
And now to Virginia, where a special bald eagle is soaring high once again. Rachel Branning explains.
After a month of rehabilitation from lead poisoning at the Wildlife Center of Virginia in Waynesboro, bald eagle 25-3592 is now flying high in the skies over Smith Mountain Lake once again. More than 100 people came out for the release, listening to the eagle's recovery story. The fully grown eagle had gotten into a scuffle with 2 other eagles, leaving it grounded. Once in the center's care, they found lead in its system, which can be incredibly dangerous. After therapy, flight rehab, and strengthening exercises, they cleared the eagle for flight.
One by one, treat it, do the best you can, get it strong and let it go. And it's just an emotional high every time.
Meg Gamage-Tucker says even small amounts of lead in an animal's system can be deadly. She recommends hunters who use lead bullets or fishermen who use lead weights to switch to something more friendly for the animals living all around us.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll look back at Superstorm Sandy and its impacts in central Pennsylvania and why fall can be one of the most dangerous seasons for drivers.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. We look at the Northeast. We're tracking a partly sunny sky in the Northeast today, and temps look seasonable. We should be in the upper 50s and 60s. There's that partly sunny sky. Temps will start in the 40s and low 50s. Here we are, 2:30 in the afternoon. 50s and low 60s will do it. What you don't see in that map right there is a stiff north-northwesterly wind. We'll get some gusts in the Northeast, 20 to 30 miles per hour. There could be some showers over eastern Maine on Thursday. Other than that, expect a lot of sunshine.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. A dry front's going to be passing through on Wednesday, so we're not going to see any rainfall, but just a few passing clouds and a big drop in temperatures to show up as we get towards the end of the week here. But sunshine all around us. Just a few clouds again on Wednesday afternoon. We're just going to be talking about sunshine from there on until we get closer to the end of the weekend. But your temperatures take a big drop, seeing from the 60s to 70s on the Wednesday afternoon, but on Thursday it will be cooler.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. High pressure still in control here as we head through Wednesday and Thursday, but that will lead to an onshore wind flow across the east coast of Florida, leading to a chance for a few showers heading into early Thursday. Dry conditions for the rest of the southeast, though. Afternoon highs on Wednesday ranging anywhere from the 70s across the Carolinas to the mid and upper 80s for the Mississippi River Valley and the northern Gulf Coast, and into the mid 80s across most of central and south Florida.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A slow motion look at a lightning storm near Salt Lake City this past weekend. And this shows a temporary waterfall from thunderstorm runoff, frozen in time as it empties into Lake Powell in Utah. Here's a peek at majestic-looking crepuscular rays near Salt Lake City and near Asheville.
For more content like this, subscribe to the National Weather Desk's YouTube channel.
The anniversary for Superstorm Sandy is approaching. For some, it's become known as the October surprise. Meteorologist Tom Russell takes a look back at Sandy and its impact in central Pennsylvania.
One of the biggest October surprises in recent history was Hurricane Sandy in October of 2012. It has become known as Superstorm Sandy because of the flooding and devastation it caused in New York City. But Sandy started out innocently enough as a tropical storm coming out of the Caribbean. It stayed harmlessly out to sea as it moved parallel up the East Coast. But what made Sandy so unusual was instead of continuing east out over the open North Atlantic, its steering winds sent the storm westward into the U.S. Meteorologists used the term Frankenstorm as Sandy was expected to merge with a frontal boundary just a few days before Halloween. As coverage continued, several media outlets began using the term superstorm instead. It was no longer a tropical system at this point, but rather transitioned to a cold core low. So what surprised everyone was how cold it got as the storm moved inland, even bringing snow to western PA and West Virginia. Here's a snippet of my broadcast of Sandy as it moved over central PA back in 2012. So again, that cold air is kind of being wrapped in from the western side here into our storm, all the way up to Altoona at 37, 39 is State College. Now Bradford is following suit. So let me put this into motion. You'll see what I'm talking about. Our center of circulation is about 50 miles east-northeast of Pittsburgh. So that puts it right in this area, right about there. So there's our circulation, and around that circulation will continue all this mess that we call Sandy. So let's widen out one more time and give you a little broader perspective, because again, we're pulling in this cold air, and we're going to get into that as our storm pulls away. So we're going to get chillier, I think, as we move forward in time. So There's the spin. Look how large it is. We go from the Carolinas to well into Canada. This is going to be a pain again for another couple of days. So Sandy brought a cold rain to central PA and some snow into western PA and on into West Virginia. We experienced 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds, and 2 million customers were without power in Pennsylvania. A hurricane morphing into a winter storm is definitely an October surprise.
Fall is firmly in place, and slick roads, wet leaves, early frost, and chilly mornings are all a part of the season. For drivers, these changes can double your stopping distance. However, there's a right and a wrong way to hit the brakes when every second counts. Meteorologist Veronica Johnson has more.
Knowing how to brake the right way in an emergency could save your life.
When it comes to braking, Kevin, what is the one big mistake that drivers make?
Crushing that pedal all the way to the floor. When we crush that brake pedal all the way to the floor, I get the tire lock.
At Summit Point Training Facility, instructor Kevin Plumer showed me what happens with older vehicles that may not have ABS. Wheels are likely to lock with a hard stop, and the car will start sliding.
If it's sliding across the pavement, no matter what I do with my steering wheel, it's not going to respond to me.
And next now, with ABS activated, the brakes pump for you, keeping steering responsive. Press firmly but not frantically for the fastest, safest stop that may come with some vibration.
And that's the ABS kicking in. So even with the vibration of that ABS, if I get to that point where my ABS is kicking in, I'm still going to relax my toes. Yeah, I'm just easing off that brake pedal just enough to get rid of that ABS vibration, and the car will actually stop.
Stopping distance jumps as speed climbs dozens of feet longer as you go from 50 to 60 miles an hour. Wet pavement, slick leaves, and low tire pressure make it worse. Every 10 degrees colder drops tire pressure by about 1 psi, and worn tread makes hydroplaning more likely. Emergency braking isn't about panic. It's about staying calm and trusting your car's systems. Remember, strong, steady pressure in braking is key.
And as we head into winter, your brakes are not the only thing you need to check on your car. Meteorologist David Holtman tells us about some things to check off your winter car prep list.
Your tires feel that stress, and having the correct tires won't prevent every crash. A good way to check to see if the tire has enough tread is to stick a penny into the tire head first. If the tread does not come up to the top of Lincoln's head, then you need to replace your tires.
A good set of winter tires is always going to be something that you're going to see a benefit on the road. But nowadays, if you get a real quality all-weather tire, it really, you'd be surprised. It performs pretty darn well, even with the harsh winters we get.
Your tires aren't the only item to prepare for winter. Iowa is known by mechanics for being in a rust belt. The amount of salt and brine used on the roadways will stick to your cars and underbody and start to erode it away.
There are a couple things you can do. One thing that's simple around underneath your wheel wells when you get time, getting rid of all that caked up snow over time is something that is certainly beneficial.
Other good things to do before hitting the road is topping off your fluids. Check your wipers and get your car checked out by someone who really knows your car.
The spawning run is underway for a popular sport fish found in Lake Michigan, the Chinook salmon. Biologists from Wisconsin's Department of Natural Resources are helping with this process. Eric Peterson has that story.
Just below the surface of this section of Strawberry Creek, Chinook salmon are on the move. DNR senior fisheries biologist Logan Sikora says the run near Sturgeon Bay may be a little early.
There's been a lot of fish up in here for several weeks now. Even before we opened up the facility, there was several hundred fish waiting for us this year, which is pretty uncommon. But yeah, this year there's been a lot of fish that have shown up early, and it's been pretty steady throughout.
Inside this concrete holding tank, crews guide the fish, slowly squeezing the school to one end. Scientists say the salmon were stocked into Lake Michigan in the 1960s, but have trouble reproducing on their own. Wild Rose State Fish Hatchery supervisor Jesse Landwehr says hundreds of these 1 to 4 year old Chinook appear to be healthy.
Fish look pretty good. They're in good condition this year. The egg quality is looking really good so far.
We've got about 1.7 million eggs in the hatchery already from those first 3 spawning days. Total egg take goal is going to be about 3.5 million eggs this year. Wow. So we're going to shoot for 3.5 million eggs, and that'll give us enough eggs to produce 1.3 million Chinook salmon to come back into Lake Michigan next spring.
The spawning run typically wraps up by the end of the month. Logan Sikora says as of Monday morning, the Strawberry Creek salmon run continues.
We're planning kind of through the week of October 20th right now. I mean, it's super dependent on how many fish keep showing up and what the weather plays.
And time now for a short break, but first we take in views of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Sandra Buck-Michael. We do have some scattered rain across the Midwest today with a cold front. So it is cooler to the north. Look at all these 50s we have across the northern part of the Midwest. Southern part of the Midwest in the 80s. So a big difference in temperatures depending on where you live, work, and travel today. Still got some rain across the northern plains for the day tomorrow. And as we continue into Friday, that cooler air trying to move its way closer to the Ohio Valley.
Well, a good Wednesday morning to you. I'm meteorologist Chris Suchan. Look at our forecast today across the region, and starting off with mainly clear skies, very comfortable temperatures. The afternoon from 79 Amarillo, Shreveport, New Orleans in the mid-80s, around 90 San Antonio and Austin. And then on Thursday, a little bit more of a pushy humidity coming in off the Gulf will give us some scattered clouds, maybe a couple sprinkles or shower toward the Gulf Coast here. And high temperatures Thursday generally in the 80s.
Well, hi there and good Wednesday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, it's windy with this storm pushing over the Sierra Nevada. It's sending gusty winds all the way across the Four Corners region, through the Rockies and into the Mile High City. 60 today out of Boise and Spokane. San Francisco and LA recovering as the system continues to push towards Salt Lake. And Seattle will shine on the national stage for October baseball. A beautiful evening for the Mariners versus the Jays in the Emerald City. And that's the scene from here.
I'm Grayson Freund, meteorologist at Iowa's News Now, Weather First in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and you're watching the National Weather Desk.
It's fog season. To learn more about radiation fog, let's take a look at this recent Facebook post from meteorologist Teresa Carter.
Radiation fog is very common and is most prevalent during the fall and winter. It forms at night under clear skies with calm winds when heat absorbed by the Earth's surface during the day is radiated into space. As the Earth's surface continues to cool, provided a deep enough layer of moist air is present near the ground, the humidity will reach 100% and fog will form. The best condition to have radiation fog is when it had rained the previous night. This helps to moisten up the soil and create higher dew points, making it easier for the air to become saturated and form fog. It usually dissipates soon after sunrise as the ground warms.
And we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.